Auntie now brings for us something called the new taxation regime. Auntie is now bringing for us something called the new taxation regime. Auntie has introduced something called the new taxation regime. I can directly start doing the new taxation regime, but what is important is the mahal, the background, what exactly happened and why did it happen. People are putting pressure on the government that please reduce our tax rates. Please reduce tax rates. Tax rates in the country are very, very high, slabs are high, etc., etc. Please reduce, please reduce, please reduce. Auntie says, done. I am ready to reduce your tax rates. Understand the mahal, the background. If you understand the mahal, the logic, the background, then understanding the provisions is going to be very, very easy for you. Auntie says, people are putting pressure on me. Please reduce income tax ka rates. Please reduce income tax ka rates. Done. But dear assessees, all throughout our income tax law, you are taking some tax benefits. Multiple tax benefits. Sir, what kind of tax benefits? To name a few, you are taking a deduction under section 10AA when you are doing business from a special economic zone. You are taking, this is something which probably everyone knows. You are taking deductions under chapter 6A. Your life insurance premium, your medical insurance premium, donations given to charitable trust. If you are gone a case, then 80 U ka deduction. You are taking these tax benefits. If I talk about the chapter profits and gains of business or profession, you are taking deduction of expenditure on scientific research. You are taking deduction of something called a specified business. If I talk about the chapter salary, so you are taking deductions under section 16, that is standard deduction, professional tax paid, entertainment allowance. If I talk about house property, you are taking deductions under section 24, that is your standard deduction and your interest ka deduction. If I talk about a chapter like clubbing of income, in clubbing of income there is a section 1032 that whenever income of minor child is clubbed with the parent, so the parent gets an exemption of 1500 rupees. Amount clubbed or 1500, whichever is lower. So if the amount clubbed is 2000, parent will pay tax only on 500. 1500 ka exemption is given. Are all this, see, you don't know any of these sections and it is okay to not know. We are in the first chapter of our syllabus. But my question is, are these sections going to reduce your taxable income the moment I use the word exemption or deduction? Section 10 is exemption. The remaining are deductions. The moment we use the word exemption, the moment we use the word deduction, are we reducing our taxable income? So because of all this, tell me whether one thing is common. Your net taxable total income, the amount on which you will pay tax, will it reduce? So you are taking exemptions, taking deductions, exemption, deduction, reduce income, reduce income, reduce income. Matlab your income is already a lower amount. Your income is already a lower amount. And then you are putting pressure on the government to reduce tax rates. In Hindi there is a proverb. You want laddu in both hands. You want wife also and another close friend also. Sab chahiye tumko. You want me to reduce tax rates. Who is talking to the assessees? Mahal, understand the background. Picturize karo. Auntie is coming. People are talking. Auntie, tax rate reduce karo na please. Auntie, please reduce. Auntie said, I am ready. Auntie says, I am ready to reduce your tax rates. But you can't take all these tax benefits and then tell me to reduce tax rates. So, I am going to now introduce a new taxation regime in income tax wherein I will reduce your tax rates. Is she doing what she promised? Is she doing what people requested? Say yes or no. Yes, but on a condition that you will have to forego. अरे English, forego मतलब leave, छोड़ दो, leave a list of tax benefits, a plethora of tax benefits, a long number of tax benefits. Some of them I gave you as an example. Auntie is ready to reduce tax rates, but on the condition that you are ready to forego, leave your tax benefits. So I got really excited when this happened. When she announced this in the budget of 2020, she said no SEZ deduction. She said no chapter 6A deduction. She said no deduction of scientific research, no deduction of specified business, no deduction in salary, no deduction in house property. Do you understand? As and when she is removing the deductions, that means she is removing sections from the chapter. Or rather, I should say she is removing pura ka pura chapter only. No deduction of chapter 6 means chapter is gone. But the worst thing that she did was, she has made the new taxation regime optional. Optional. Matlab, with the introduction of new taxation regime, the old regime is not deleted. The old will continue to exist. And what are going to be your two options? Calculate as per old, calculate as per new. Old mein, will you take deductions, all the deductions that we are talking about? Yes, so your NTTI will reduce. And the tax rates will be higher. Income will be less, but rate will be more. And in new, you will leave your tax benefits, so the NTTI will increase. This point, forego your tax benefits. And the tax rates, she is ready to reduce. This point. Calculate this tax on income as per old regime with deductions. And calculate this tax on income as per new regime without deductions. So you get your tax liability 1, you get your tax liability 2, and which one do you pay? Obviously total of both, no? पागल लोग हर बात में हाँ में हाँ मत मिलाओ. Total of both? No. You will pay anyone? Anyone? Obviously whichever is higher, no? CAs are partners in nation building. देश का भला करने को. No. Which one will you make your client pay? इशारा करो ना गंदा गंदा. The lower of the two. Understood? Understood? And which is why, ladies and gentlemen, in every question of tax calculation, we will have to calculate ek ka double. Auntie is Anuradha ka fan. You know Anuradha? You cannot not know Anuradha, otherwise you are missing something in life. Ek ka double karti hai Anuradha. It's okay. It's okay. Go watch Fir Hera Feri. You will understand what I am talking about. Auntie says you will have to calculate tax twice. First as per old regime, then as per new regime, and choose whichever is obviously beneficial. For you, beneficial means lower only. And that is why we will have to keep old and new regime both in our classroom discussion also. So are you understanding the features of the new regime? Feature number 1, tax rate is going to reduce. Feature number 2, you will have to forego your tax benefits. Feature number 3, the new regime is going to be optional. There are some more features. Let me discuss, then I will actually come to the provisions. Feature number 4, is this optional? That means whether to take it or not take it is a choice of the assessee, say yes or no. So obviously your assessing officer is Nirmal Baba, Radhe Ma, Asaram Bapu, Gurmeet Ram Rahim, Bobby Deol, Baba Nirala. You don't know Baba Nirala? Bhai, Vaibhav, sun. Netflix is paid, Prime is paid, Hotstar is paid. The only OTT which is free of cost is MX Player. Some are like, sir, we are CA students. How do you expect us to know all this? इधर हमारा जिंदगी में कुछ और करने के लिए we don't have any time. So whether paid or free. My point is only this much, that your assessing officer is not a Baba. He will not get dreams which option you have selected. You will have to tell him, no, sir, I want to take old or new. Is it optional? That means you have to select. So you will tell him, sir, which one I am taking. This option has to be exercised on or before your 139(1) due date. 139(1) is also a section of income tax. Those who know it, it is okay. And those who don't know it, it is still okay. Because one day I am only going to teach you. This is due date of filing your return of income, or more famously known as income tax return. You have to decide that you are taking new regime. See, taking new regime means exercising your option on or before the due date of return filing. Once your previous year gets over, your assessment year starts. In the assessment year, you have to communicate your total income and tax to the AO by filing an income tax return. There are 3 due dates which come every year. For assessees which are covered under transfer pricing, the due date will be 30th November of the assessment year. For assessees who have audit, the due date for audit is September, but for return it is October, 31st October. And for assessees who are not having transfer pricing or audit, the due date is 31st of July. Those who go to office are aware of this, but for the benefit of all the dummies of the classroom, there are 3 due dates of filing income tax return: July, October and November. Is that clear? Before that date, go and tell, hi AO bro, what's up AO? AO, I want a new regime. Then only you can go in new regime. In other words, listen carefully. What does this mean? If I miss the due date of return filing, other problems will come. I will have interest, I will have fees, I will lose my loss carry forward. Lot of problems will come in my life. But one more problem, new regime will not be available. For getting new regime, you have to choose it before the due date. In other words, see my interpretation and see if you understand. If you don't exercise the option before the due date, then by default you will be in the old regime. So you are in the old regime. You want new? Choose before due date. Then new. Otherwise by default, old regime. मित्रों, समझा क्या? Hello? हाँ. So you have to exercise this option on or before the due date of return filing. That is also a characteristic of new taxation regime. So feature number 1, we will reduce your tax rate. But if you are willing to forego certain tax benefits, this is optional, so old, new both applicable. If you want new, decide before due date of return filing. Otherwise, by default, you will be in old regime. Is that understood? Next feature of new taxation regime. In our income tax law, there is a tax called MAT, minimum alternate tax. I told you little about this towards the end of yesterday's lecture. A special tax applicable only to companies. A special chapter created only for which assessee? Company. And thus company ka tax rates also we will learn in MAT chapter. If you remember introduction mein, we have not done company ka tax rates. We will do in MAT ka chapter. Chapter number 15 in our index, volume 1 ke andar, minimum alternate tax. It's a tax applicable for companies. And then there is another tax called AMT, alternate minimum tax, which is applicable to others. This is chapter number 16 of our index, last chapter of volume 1. If you observe the volume 1 of your syllabus, chapter 15 is MAT and chapter 16 is AMT. The last 2 chapters of our textbook. Ka volume 1. MAT is applicable to which assessee? Company. AMT is applicable to which assessee? Others. It will not be applicable if you go in new regime. MAT, AMT, not applicable for assessees in new regime. So the moment I heard this announcement also, I said, Auntie, I will touch your feet and say thank you. Because you know what? 2 more chapters removed from income tax. If removed from income tax, then also removed from syllabus, no. But only if the new regime is compulsory. If the new regime is compulsory, then all this is not applicable. So no need to study the chapters. Will there be assessees in the old regime? Will there be some assessees in the old regime? MAT is applicable. AMT is applicable. MAT for company, AMT for others, but they are applicable. That means when we calculate tax as per old regime, we have to also calculate MAT AMT. And when we calculate tax as per new regime, MAT AMT not applicable. So if the new regime, see all the criticism of auntie that I do in class. Every time I make, you know which auntie I refer to every time I say auntie. All the criticism, every time I make fun of her. That day when she makes new taxation regime compulsory, I will go touch her feet, fall on her feet and say, Auntie, sorry. I take back all my words. In the true tradition of Jainism, Auntie, I forgive you and I ask for forgiveness. Jainism में ऐसा culture है, system है that you should annually say sorry to everyone. हाँ, Auntie, I'll do that. But as of now, the new taxation regime is optional. So old regime will have MAT AMT, new regime will not have MAT AMT. Is that understood? And last feature that you have to be careful about the new taxation regime. All these points A, B, C, D, E, F are features of the new taxation regime. Last point, chapter 12 of income tax. If it was a classroom, no physical classroom, I would have told you that slap the person sitting next to you. But it is an online classroom. So please invite the nearest human being right now on camera and tell that person to give you a tight slap. Acha, you want to avoid that exercise? Tell me what is chapter 12. Huh? Special rates. Special rates. 15 minutes I have asked you to give every day. If you remember special. Do you remember the section number ka range of special rates? Starting from 110 and going up to 115 BBI. Actually it was BBG, but this year there are 2 new sections. BBH and BBI. Correct hai? Special rates of chapter 12 will continue to apply even for those assessees who are opting for the new taxation regime. In other words, see, I'll explain with an example. Example samjho. Supposingly you have calculated your net taxable total income. That's the income on which you have to apply tax. You have an option of old regime or new regime. But before you apply that, you will have to first separate your income into special income or normal income. Is that what we were doing even while we applied our slab rates initially? Normal income, normal rate, special income, special rate. Normal income, normal rate, special income, special rate. Correct hai? Special income ke upar we will apply the rates of chapter 12 always. And for this normal income, mitro, you can choose old or new, whatever you are comfortable. This is what I mean by my point F. Supposingly you have earned casual winnings and salary. Listen, casual winnings and salary. For salary, you can choose old or new, old or new, old or new. But casual winning will be taxable at a flat rate of 30%. Long-term capital gain will be taxable at 20%. Short-term capital gain on stock market will be taxable at 15%. Irrespective of whether you are in old regime or you are in new regime. Mitro, understood? These are the features of the new taxation regime even before I start the regime with you. Feature number 1. Auntie is going to reduce your tax rates. But only if you are ready to forego certain tax benefits. The new regime is optional. This is the biggest problem. So you have to decide old or new. That decision has to be taken before the due date of filing return. If you do not exercise the option, tell me what will happen before the due date if you don't exercise. So by default, you will be in the old regime. MAT AMT will not be applicable in new regime. So those who are in the old regime, MAT AMT will be applicable. And special rates will apply even in the new regime. Are these features understood? Now, how did Auntie introduce the new taxation regime? Auntie brought 4 sections in Income Tax Act. Income Tax Act के अंदर Section 115 BAA, Section 115 BAB, Bab, Bas, Bad, Bas, Bad, 115 BAA, BAB, BAC, BAD, 4 sections in income tax for new taxation regime. So whatever features I have discussed with you here, the features are mentioned in these sections. But these are the common points. Because they are common points, we studied them separately. In all these 4 sections, tax rate will reduce, but forego tax benefits, optional, before due date of return filing, MAT AMT not applicable, special rates will apply, all the 4 sections. So those 6 points which we have written are common. Is that clear? Difference क्या है sir? These 2 sections are introduced for companies. So 115 BAA, BAB are sections for company. Because they are company ka sections, they will be taught to you in MAT ka chapter. Because company ka old rates also we have not studied, no? Company ka old rates also we are going to study in MAT only, no? So when we study company ka old rates in MAT chapter, together we will study company ka new rates in MAT ka chapter. Sir, if you had to teach in MAT ka chapter, then why you wrote these sections? Simple, mitro. If I had to teach you only these 2 sections here, still I will have to write these 6 points because these 6 points are applicable to all of them. They are applicable to BAC, BAD also, and BAC, BAD I am teaching you in the introduction only. So then it is only matter of writing section numbers. All 4 sections. Okay. So 115 BAA, BAB applicable to companies and will be covered in which chapter? Minimum alternate tax. 115 BAC is applicable to individual HUF. So have we studied individual HUF ka old regime in this chapter? Yes. So new regime also we are going to study in this chapter only. 115 BAC will be done in this chapter. And 115 BAD is cooperative society. Have we studied old rates of cooperative society here? So we will study new rates also. So these 2 sections I will cover with you in introduction chapter, because for these assesses I have covered the old rates already. I have to finish the new rates. These 2 sections I will cover with you in MAT chapter, because old rates also not yet done. So old and new will be done together. Is that understood? So then, sir, why did you mention them? Because these are common points. Is this understood? What are the common points of these 4 sections? Tax rates will be reduced for company year, for individual HUF, for cooperative society. All of them have to forego tax benefits. It is optional before the due date of return filing. MAT not applicable. Listen, MAT not applicable, AMT not applicable, because MAT is for companies and AMT is for others. And chapter 12 will apply in all the sections. These are common points. Is that clear? Absolutely. Now, before I teach you some more stuff about these 4 sections, first thing that you will have to do, it is a task that I am giving you, and I need participation of students here. Observe the new taxation regime ka sections very carefully and tell me something about them. Tell me if something clicks to you. Tell me if there is any bulb or tube light glowing in your brain. Hint is, it should glow by looking at the section numbers. They are all in a range. They are all in alphabetical sequence that we can observe. But other than that, something comes to your mind, then tell me this is the right time to do so. Think. Think. Kuch tube light is coming here. Chat box में बोल. See, when you have to speak one line or just a few words, you have to type now. So you can unmute, speak and then mute again. वो भी चलेगा. Understood क्या? Harshit, Muskan, all of you. These sections are also a part of chapter 12. Observe carefully. Chapter 12 का range is this. Chapter 12 का range is this. And that means 115, BAA, BAB, BAC, BAD, they are all a part of chapter 12. They fall in the range. In the features of new taxation regime, have I told you that chapter 12 will be applicable even when you opt for new regime? Yes or no? That was my simple explanation to you. Sometimes some good students who want to learn the law in legal language, they like to open the Income Tax Act directly, bare act. Some are like, sir, all this is not applicable to us. But sometimes I am saying, Income Tax ka bare act, directly the section in the act. If you open these sections, directly where? In Income Tax Act. So there is a line which is written. And I am speaking that line directly from the bare act. It may create a little tension for you because you will not understand from the bare act. But we will try to learn legal language wherever and whenever possible, wherever and whenever required. These sections start by saying, notwithstanding anything contained anywhere in the Income Tax Act. Notwithstanding anything contained anywhere in the Income Tax Act. The word notwithstanding in legal language is known as non-obstanted clause. Only hardcore legal language. Non-obstanted clause. Non-obstanted clause का मीनिंग अगर भारी वाला लैंग्वेज में यू डोंट अंडरस्टैंड नो, तो सिंपल लैंग्वेज मीन्स आई एम बिगर देन एवरीवन एल्स. द मीनिंग ऑफ द वर्ड नॉट विथ स्टैंडिंग एनीथिंग मीन्स व्हाट आई से इज फाइनल. आई एम शिवगामी देवी, मेरा वचन ही है शासन. व्हाट आई से इज द फाइनल वर्ड. Notwithstanding anything contained anywhere in the income tax law means we will ignore the full Income Tax Act and we will give respect to these sections. You know why? Listen, income tax ka act is giving you 10AA ka SEZ ka deduction, 80C, 80D ka deduction. Income tax ka law is giving you a lot of deductions, but we will ignore all of them because I am saying so. I am bigger than all of them. Notwithstanding anything contained anywhere in the Income Tax Act. Is that understood? Is that understood? That these provisions will overrule everything else in income tax law. These provisions will be superior to anything else in the income tax law because they start with a non-obstanted clause, means I am bigger than everyone else. Is that understood? But the sentence continues. Notwithstanding anything contained anywhere in the income tax law, but subject to the provisions of this chapter. Now, what do you mean by subject to? Have we understood the meaning of notwithstanding non-obstanted clause? Matlab, I am bigger than everyone else. But subject to का मतलब क्या है? Subject to मतलब sometimes I am ready to compromise. Sometimes I am ready to compromise. If I have to relate this with our day-to-day life, you can make the law easy if you relate it to day-to-day life. Notwithstanding any argument, keeping videos on in Zoom class is compulsory. Subject to permission of 1 or 2 special days, where I will decide the genuineness of your request. Means वैसे तो what I say is final, but sometimes I may considering the genuineness of your situation, and I will decide that. समझा? So initially I say this is a rigid rule, but sometimes I am ready to compromise. Is that understood? Notwithstanding means I am bigger than anyone else, but subject to means I am ready to compromise. Now come back to the new regime. Mitro, come back. Notwithstanding anything contained in income tax law. Matlab, can I say new regime is superior to everything? If new regime says no SEZ deduction, matlab no SEZ deduction. No chapter 6 hai, matlab no chapter 6 hai. No MAT, no AMT, matlab new regime is superior to everything in income tax. Is that understood? But subject to this chapter, abhi bolo, new regime falls in which chapter of income tax law? Which chapter? Chapter 12. Matlab, I will fight with everyone, but I will not fight with chapter 12. I am bigger than everything of Income Tax Act, but I am not bigger than chapter 12. That is the Bare Act language. The new taxation regime is going to be given more respect. It will overrule every other chapter, but it cannot overrule special rates ka chapter. Notwithstanding anything contained anywhere in Income Tax Act, but subject to provisions of this chapter. And where is the new taxation regime? In which chapter? Chapter 12. You got little idea about legal language, Bare Act ka language? Mitro, if you did not get idea, no, I have one more way. Hashtag Thug Life hai. One more way. Did I tell you that special rates are compulsory even in the new regime? Are special rates, this part. Did I tell you that you can choose old or new for normal income, but for special income, your new regime is compulsory? Or your special income, your special rates are compulsory? Normal income ke liye you can choose old or new, but special income, special rates, even in new regime, is this line only. Notwithstanding anything else, but subject to special rates. समझा क्या? तो we will have discussions about new taxation regime in this chapter. We will have discussion about Bare Act language whenever and wherever required. At the end of the day, we are catering to a classroom requirement, and classroom is requiring you to be prepared for CA final exams. Wherever and whenever practical discussion is required, we will discuss. Wherever and whenever Bare Act ka discussion is required, we will discuss. But one thing is for sure, that we are here to make the subject easy. So instead of telling you notwithstanding, If I tell you that special rates are compulsory in new regime, that is more appropriate for you today as a student. Bare Act is indispensable. You have to learn Bare Act. But first you have to understand the simple language so that you can understand the Bare Act. And we are not doing a private tuition where I am teaching one-on-one. Every student has his or her own customized requirement. Sir, nahi, I like only simple language. Sir, nahi, I like legal language. Had it been a private one-to-one tuition, we would have probably discussed what as per the customized needs of the student. As a classroom, wherever Bare Act is required, we will discuss. And wherever we can learn with simple language, we will go for simple language. For you anyways, simple language is more important. So ladies and gentlemen, we are under the new taxation regime. We started at 7 o'clock sharp. After 2 lectures, if you do not understand, now this is the right time to tell some of you guys, if you are foolish to log into the class at 7:05, 7:10, some at 7:15 and 7:20, this is not going to be tolerated. You get clearly in your mind whom you are dealing with. In 12 years, not a single lecture has started at 7:02 or 03. Whatever is your habit, otherwise don't do that with me. This is not acceptable. And I don't want you to miss important stuff. If you understand, I care for you. Just because some of you all have taken admission with video backup or additional video backup, just because you all have taken that enrollment, you cannot compromise on your actual lecture. Bola chalna, kuch bhi miss hua to video is there, no? That cannot make you not take seriously the class, because class has to work with class ka discipline. Today I am revising how we started. We have finished the old regime. We started new regime. New regime has 4 sections. Now we know the 4 sections also. 2 are applicable to company, so we will discuss in MAT ka chapter. In this chapter, we will only discuss BAC and BAD. Only 2 sections have to be taught here. Because individual HUF ka and cooperative society ka old regime ka rates are over, so new regime ka rates will be taught to us. Company ka old as well as new, both will be done in MAT ka chapter only. Sir, then why have you listed these sections? Because these sections also, along with these 2 sections, have some common points. Those 6 points are common for all 4. Can you try, without looking at the notebook, tab pe to I am not showing you, without looking at anything, can you try what are the 6 features of the new taxation regime applicable to all 4 sections? 1. Tax rate reduce. 2. But for that, all the tax benefits have to be foregone. 3. New taxation regime is compulsory. हर बात में हाँ में हाँ मत मिलाओ, सुन. I'm like, हाँ, तू बोलते जा, बराबर है. Listen what I am talking. New taxation regime is compulsory, बराबर? No, it is optional. Option has to be taken before due date, otherwise by default you will be in old regime. MAT will not be applicable for company, AMT will not be applicable for others. And chapter 12 is compulsory. Chapter 12 will apply even if you go in new regime. Is the common part of all the 4 sections clear? 6 points are common in all 4 sections. Is that clear? But there are some differences also. And it is necessary that you know the differences also. 115BAA applicable to which SSC? Company. 115BAB applicable to which SSC? Company. 115BAD applicable to which SSC? Cooperative society. Are a little different from 115BAC, which is applicable to individual HUF. That means in these 3 there is no difference. So I have written them together. In these 3 there is no difference, so I have written them together. Where is the difference? Only in this section. So I have separated this section. एक बात बताओ. In this chapter, I don't want to teach you these sections. I want to teach you only BAC, BAD. Are these 6 points common between BAC, BAD? And there are 2 differences between BAC, BAD. So the difference that I teach you here, the 2 points of differences, the same difference is applicable here also. So whether you focus on BAA, BAB or you don't focus, it is okay, because anyways we are going to do BAA, BAB later. But these are differences between BAC, BAD also. And BAC, BAD are we studying in this chapter only? So we have to discuss the differences. What are the differences? Difference number 1. When we will do BAB, BAD, BAA, BAB, you will be taught that in these two sections, it is specifically written that these sections are applicable to company. But which company? Only domestic company. That means a non-domestic company is not going to be eligible for the new taxation regime. It is specifically written in those sections. Domestic company. But ignore this. Anyways, math mein we will do that. My target is BAC, BAD right now. My target is not BAA, BAB. Are we continuously understanding that? BAD, if you open the section, it is talking about cooperative society. Yes or no? But along with cooperative society, they have written the word resident cooperative society. Hey, idhar bro. BAD is not for cooperative society, it is for resident cooperative society. It is not for company, it is for domestic company. The word domestic, the word resident has been specifically written in these sections. For company, the word domestic is used, and for cooperative society, the word resident is used. Specifically mentioned. Specifically mentioned. But if you go and read BAC, BAC is available to individual HUF. See, by now we are aware of that. But that's it. The section mentions only individual HUF. The section does not refer to or mention anybody else, or does not write any other word here. And this is direct tax ka expectation from you. You have to read and understand what is written, and you have to also draw conclusions about what is not written. Guess karo what conclusion I am talking about here. Acha, guess mat karo. I ask you questions so that you can give answers in this or this. Yes or no? These provisions are available to domestic companies. Yes or no? Non-domestic company, foreign company? No. This is available to resident cooperative society. Yes or no? Non-resident cooperative society? No. अरे थोड़े थोड़े तो इशारे करो यार, कोई कोई इसमें भी all are not participating, only some are participating. Now comes the important part. This provision is available to individual HUF. If they are resident, is it going to be available if it is resident? And what if the individual HUF is non-resident? Yes, ladies and gentlemen, whether resident or non-resident, because the section does not mention anything. It just says individual HUF, and does not refer to resident, individual, resident HUF. This is the first point of difference. There are 6 common points, but one difference, and the difference is only here. So these 3, everything is same, and because everything is same, I don't want to teach these 2 sections, but because it is same, I am just writing it. I am going to teach these sections in company ka chapter, net. Ideally, I want to teach you difference between BAC, BAD, because those 2 I am covering in this chapter. So what is the first difference? BAC, BAD is available to all individual HUF and not just resident individual HUF. Is that understood? Everyone? चलिए, second difference. First difference was very easy to identify. Second difference. Again, where is the difference? Only in BAC. The remaining 3 sections have the same rule. I want to teach only BAD. But because BAA and BAB have the same rule, I am covering that also. But in all the discussion, yaad rahe, these 6 points are common for all of them. All 4. Differences are only 2. What 2, sir? First, individual HUF mein non-resident is also covered. Second, in these 3 sections, that is BAA, BAB, BAD, they say the option once exercised. You exercise your option by filing return before the due date. What do? You go from old to new. That's an option that you have to exercise in the new taxation regime. Once you go in new regime, you can never come back to the old regime. In other words, now you will be forever in the new regime. Once taken, it will apply forever and you cannot come back to old. One way hai. Can I give you an example so that you can relate it with your life? This is like shifting from old CA course to new CA course. I think you have understood. Now I don't have to explain also anything. You all have understood, no? This is like shifting from the old CA course to new CA course. Old regime to new regime. You can't come out. So very easy to understand. Chaliye, no problem. Where is the difference? These 3 are to having the same rule. Company, cooperative society, same rule. Resident hai, domestic hai and cannot change. Here in BAC, non-residents are also covered. Plus, they are also going to provide you the facility of changing. You will be given the freedom of changing your option. And this is a very complicated thing. I need full attention of people. I need to see whether people are attentive or no. Very complicated. See, till now everything appears easy. First, the difference is clear to everyone. Second difference may be the left side ka part is clear to everyone. Right side mein, they are telling you that go and check whether the individual or HUF, jiska tax computation you are doing, is having income under business profession or not having income under business profession. Classify the assessee into PGBP or no PGBP. Any person having business or profession will have income under the head PGBP, will fall here. And any person not having business profession, listen, salaried employees, retired pensioner, person having only investments, person having only rent, only dividend, only interest, those people, will they fall here? If you don't have PGBP, then you can change your option every year. Option will be available on a year-on-year basis. Matlab, a salaried employee. First of all, individual HUF. Whether resident or non-resident, both cases eligible for new regime. And salaried employee does not have PGBP. Can I say this employee will fall in this category of my chart? No business, only salary. Is he eligible for new regime? He takes the new regime. Next year, can he come back to the old regime? Yes, they are not allowed, but they are allowed. Third year, can he again go to the new regime? Fourth year, again new regime. Fifth year, old regime. Mitro, these people, therefore, are allowed to do old, new, old, new, 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 old, 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 new, old, new, old, new, old, 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 new, old, new, old, 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 new, 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 old, new, old, new, old, old, new, old, new, old, new, new, old, new, old, new, old. They are allowed to exercise the option every year. वापस करके दिखाओ कि you all have understood. Understood, no? हाँ, रील बना देंगे इसको. Understood, everyone? So this is also easy. This is easy. Once taken, can never change. This is easy. You can change every year. I'll say something orally. If you think you need to write it, you write it. Can we exercise the option every year? If you are in old, by default you are in old. If new is your option, then it has to be before due date of return filing. But that we are already aware, no? That is the common feature. That whenever you want new, see, these people can take new only once, then they are by default in new. But this person can decide old or new every year. Whichever year you decide before due date, it will be new. Otherwise, by default, it will be old. Is that clear? But the point is that the option is available on a year-on-year basis, non-PGBP wala people. So, the easy part is over. This is a little complicated, but I will make it easy for you. You are with me? We now go to 115 BAC, individual HUF. Resident or non-resident? Huh? Both. If you have PGBP, what is the law? What is the law for you? What is the rule for you? If you have PGBP. Initially, by default, you were in the old regime. For many years, you were in the old regime. Yes or no? Now, one day, auntie has announced a new regime. Sir, can we shift to the new regime? Allowed. You are allowed to go from old to new. Absolutely allowed. We have introduced only for that, no? They go, they cannot come back. They go, they can go every year and come back every year. But now we are talking about individual HUF with PGBP. You have gone from old to new. You have gone from old to new. Where are you now? You have gone from old to new. Then where are you now? New regime? New regime? New regime? New regime? One day suddenly you feel, sir, I am not comfortable, sir. English में sir, I am not comfortable. हिंदी में सर मेरे को जम नहीं रहा है. गुजराती में सर फावतू નથી. मराठी सर जमनार नहीं हो. मारवाड़ी में मने नहीं जमे रही है. मलयाली एने के कंफर्टेबल इल्ला. अबे whichever language you understand, you are now uncomfortable with the new regime. Sir, I want to do ghar wapsi. I want to come back. In future, whenever you want, you can return from, where are you by the way? Where are you? New. Can you return? Yes, sir. Come back. So is going from old to new allowed? Yes. Is coming back, wait, let me ask clearly. Is coming back allowed for these people? No. For these people, every year. Listen, And if the question is, sir, do they have to communicate every year? Sir, they don't have to communicate every year. You take, listen carefully. By default, you are in old. You want to go in new, then by default, you are in new. Next year, again, you want to go in new, so new ka you communicate. If you don't communicate, then by default, you are in old. So whatever you want to exercise, you can exercise. Every year, you can change. These people, they can go to new. Can they come back to old? But condition ये है that now where are you? You went to new, you have come back to old. Now where are you? Old. Now the new regime will not be available forever. Now the new regime will not be available forever. Now you will have to lifetime remain in the old regime. New regime not available. That means old to new allowed, new to old allowed, going back not allowed. This is more confusing than demonetization. निकाल सकते हो, डाल सकते हो, वापस निकाल सकते हो. What are you trying to say, auntie? Let me try and make it easy for you by relating it with your life. You know, when I related this part with your life, can you go from old CA course to new CA course? Yes, sir. Can you come back? No, sir. So this part you understood, no? This part requires no explanation. This is the easiest of all. Arey, old, new, I did that, no? This is the easiest. Let me relate this part with your daily life and you are sorted in life. Let me relate this part. Okay? You buy a ticket to a movie hall, to a stadium. With that ticket, are you allowed to enter the cinema hall? Are you allowed to enter the stadium? Arey yaar, yes, no, something to you say no yaar. Are you allowed to enter? You did not like the show. धाकड़ देखने गया था. 4 people in India watched Kangana Ranaut ka movie धाकड़. 4 tickets across India got sold and you were one of those 4. You did not like the show. Can you come out of the show? Now you can't go again. I think I have made you understand what PGBP people ka rule is. Are you allowed to go to new? Are you allowed to return? Now you can't go again. Now don't say, sir, what if I buy another ticket? Such mein Dhakad ka show is not going on. Ultimately we are learning tax. It was only to make you understand. Buy another ticket. Buy another ticket matlab become a new assessee in income tax. You can't become a new assessee. Idea hai. You as an individual have exhausted this option. Create an HUF. HUF ka to first time ka baki hai na. You can take that. That's idea. But that's tax planning strategy, which as a chartered accountant I will give advice. But for that you need to know the law first. No. Individual is exhausted, open HUF. Get married, you get a spouse whom you can take in the new regime. Minor child nahi, minor child ka to clubbing will take place. But if the child is a major child, take that child in the new regime. In case new regime is your interest, because now you are not going to be allowed. Is that clear? Understood? Partner of a firm has share of profit which is exempt. That means he does not have income under PGBP. We are talking about then partner of a firm who has exempt share of profit is a case of no PGBP. But if he has got salary and interest from the firm, that salary and interest is taxable under PGBP. So then he will fall in this category. This was one of the doubts in the chat box. I have taken care of it. Is that clear? So are we clear that when you can change and when you cannot change? This is the second difference. It is not yet over, but let's be clear till now. There were 6 points which are common in all the sections of new regime. But there are 2 points which are different only in BAC, mitro. Only in BAC. They are not different for the other sections. For the other 3 they are same. What was the first difference? In BAC we are allowing resident, non-resident all, but in the other 3 it is domestic or it is corporate, resident cooperative society. Second difference, in the other 3, once new is taken you can never come back to old. Correct hai? In individual HUF without PGBP, very easy rule. Every year change. And with PGBP, complicated rule. But have we understood? Can we go from old to new? Yes. Can we come back from new to old? Yes. But now can we go back to new? No. Chaliye. That is clear. Now I have a practical situation in front of you. And that I will ask you in the form of a question. I am individual. You can look at me and identify I am individual HUF. Am I eligible for 115 BAC? What if I am a non-resident? Still allowed. I am by default in the old regime. I went to the new regime. Am I allowed that option? Yes. Before the due date of return filing, subject to the conditions, I went to the new regime. After few years, I am not comfortable with the new regime. Now I want to come back to the old regime. Will I be allowed? Because these guys are not allowed. And this guy is allowed every year, but I am talking about me who has income under PGBP. Am I going to be allowed to come back? I fall here. Am I going to be allowed to come back? Yes. Now I want to go back to the new regime. That's my question for you. I went to new. I came back to old. Now I want to go back to the new regime. Most of you all in the video are saying no. And also in the chat box, not allowed, can't go. I have only taught you that.
Sir, if we don't have business income, we can shift.
You are asking me or you are, एक तो पहली बात तो drive करते करते please, क्या कर क्या रहा है bro? I appreciate your sincerity towards the class. But where are you driving, in your society compound?
No, I am going to office.
And on which road you are driving?
NG Road, Old.
Bro, कुछ हुआ तो it should not come on me. Huh? I am a fan of your sincerity, Prathamesh. Fan बोले तो you can, if you ever come to give an autograph, no, I'll take from you, because I just love sincere students. Ultimately, you are not doing it for ICAI or your coaching class or your professor. You are doing it for that person in the mirror. Okay? But still, this is not the correct. You have to respect the law also. We know we CAs are always कि कैसा law का रास्ता. Correct? So listen, ladies and gentlemen. CA log and Baba log. There is one thing common. There is one thing common in CA log and Baba log. That people will approach you and ask you, Maharaj, उपाय बताओ. कुछ तो उपाय बताओ. वो बाबा लोग will give you a नींबू, lemon. And will tell you कि ये lemon को rotate 7 times around your head and throw it outside the window. But CA log, you have to give upay, you have to give solutions. And if I am telling you that please take me back to the new regime, so you need to give solution. Solution hai. CA log and Baba log, solution hai. If I ever want to go back, your answer was not allowed. But if PGBP stops, when I say PGBP stops means in future the person is not having income under PGBP anymore. So you become this, do you understand? And what is the rule for this category? You can exercise your option on a year-on-year basis. So now understand the practical solution. I have discussed Bare Act today also. I am talking practical things also. But of course our syllabus is vast and there will be occasions where we cannot go into practical debates and discussions or Bare Act language because we have to keep our examination and our schedule also in mind. But today I am giving you a practical discussion, a practical situation. A person who is an individual and has PGBP income, has taken new regime, allowed hai. Has returned to old regime, allowed hai. Now is requesting, sir, please somehow, sir or madam, CA sir, CA madam, somehow take me back to the new regime. So you give that person idea, listen, you are doing a business, make your wife the proprietor of that business and you start taking salary from that. On paper, you become an employee. See, off the records, all decision making will be with you. Yeah, should I say off the records, if you have a wife, anyways, all decision making is always with her only. In case you have a wife. You are not allowed to decide basic things of your life also. But on paper, you become an employee. Anyways, off the records also, you are her employee only. Become an employee. Withdraw salary. So stop earning income from business. Earning matlab earning hai, but stop showing it as business. Show your business income as salary. How to do that manipulation, that we will only do, no? Now some of you all don't start asking, sir, kaise karega? Proprietorship is registered in... See, practically, you will have to do that paperwork. Open a new, if your business ka name is A and Company, open it as A, B and Company. Make your wife the proprietor. Slowly tell your customers and suppliers that from now onwards, all the trading will be done in the bills of purchase bill or sale bill in the name of A, B and Company. Slowly reduce the business of A and Company. Increase the business of A, B and Company. Shut down A and Company. Shift the business to A, B and Company. And now become employee. See, practically you will have to implement it. But solution to hai. And CA log and Baba log, your responsibility to give solution to the world. And this solution is tax ka solution, not LectureWala. Kamlesh malum hai? You all know Kamlesh? Google karo. Kamlesh dug. Google this. You will come to know. This solution is tax ka solution, not LectureWala solution. I'll tell you who Kamlesh was. Kamlesh was a person, a small kid who used to take drugs. He said, मैं solution लेता हूं और एक बार लेता हूं तो I get a good feel, dug. This is not that solution. This is a tax ka solution and you have to give it. Is that understood, Mitro? So we have studied two differences in BAC and the other three sections. Mind you, the difference is only under BAC. The difference is not in the other provisions. Is that clear, everyone? So, what have we studied since we started today? First, we are starting the new taxation regime. There are 6 common points in the new taxation regime. What are the 6 common points in the new taxation regime? Point number 1. There are some students who are continuous defaulters throughout the class. Again and again, I don't have to remind you. I have put them in waiting room now. Okay. Except those who have permission. Others are not. And permission is granted for 1 or 2 lectures. There is a limit. Okay. because I am revising, I have put that. Complicated concept के time पे, I am also not a jallad. That complicated concept के time पे, I will do it, but because now I am revising, for some time let them remain in the waiting room. They will understand the rules of the class. What have we studied? 6 common points in the new taxation regime. Point number 1, the tax rates will be reduced. Point number 2, it is you have to forego tax benefits. Point number 3, it is going to be optional. If you exercise the option, you have to take the new regime before the due date, otherwise by default you will be in the old regime. Point number 5, MAT for companies or AMT for other assessees will not be applicable. And point number 6, even if you are in new regime, special rates will apply. These are common points for all the 4 sections, 6 points. And then there are 2 differences, but only in 115 BAC. So the other 3 are same here also. What are the 3 differences? 2 differences. Difference number 1, in 115 BAC, resident, non-resident both are going to be allowed. But in the remaining 3, it has to be domestic or cooperative, resident or domestic, resident, cooperative society or domestic company. And in 115 BAC, second difference is the other 3 you cannot change. Once you take new, you will always remain in new. You cannot go back to old. But in 115 BAC, you have the option of going back to the old. For persons not having PGBP, every year. And for people having PGBP, go to new, come back to old, but now you cannot go back to new. Is that clear, everyone? And now that we have understood the features of the new tax regime, the common and the different points of the new tax regime, so all we are now required to do is, one by one, we will go and learn the sections. Ek ek karke, we will be learning the sections. In this chapter, I am going to teach you only 2 sections. Only 2 sections are going to be taught to you here. Which 2 sections I am going to teach you here? 115 BAC and 115 BAD. Only 2 sections we have to learn here, because the other 2 sections, that is BAA and BAB, which are related to company, whatever is the common feature we have discussed and covered out here, but the other 2 sections will be taught to you in MAT ka chapter. So 115 BAC and 115 BAD. First 115 BAC. We are starting the section now, but you will feel ki, arey wow yaar, I know everything here. Let's see what are we talking about. First, who is the eligible assessee for this section of new taxation regime? If you say individual HUF, you are right, but you are incomplete. It has to be a resident only? No, it can be resident or a non-resident. Both are going to be allowed. Resident or non-resident, both are going to be allowed. Correct hai? Have you already studied this? This serves like a revision, if you understand. Second, is the new taxation regime compulsory or optional? That means, can we write this point that 115 BAC is an optional section? Can the assessee choose to remain in the old regime? Yes. Third, how to exercise the option? You will have to exercise the option on or before the 139(1) due date. Can we say the due date of filing return of income tax return on or before the 139(1) due date? Yes or no? Due date of return. If you are a person who does not have PGBP, then what is the rule? Come on, this is now a revision. See, we have studied the comparative analysis of new taxation regime ka sections between each other, but coincidentally, all these points are already covered in that discussion. So, if a person does not have PGBP, so the option can be changed every year. And if the person has PGBP, so what will happen? Old to new allowed, new to old return allowed. This is called exercise my option, and then coming back is called to return to the old regime, allowed. But now new regime not applicable. You can come back, but new not applicable, except if you will have to tell me this. You can't go back to new except if PGBP. If you stop earning income under PGBP, then you can, otherwise no. Correct hai? Next point. Individual HUF are subjected to a tax called alternate minimum tax. Now listen, in the common features I said MAT AMT not applicable. But in the specific section, I will have to talk about that tax which is applicable. No, if I talk about company, I will say MAT not applicable. And if I talk about individual HUF, that means AMT not applicable. AMT will not be applicable. Correct? Eh? These are points that we have already discussed. Only 2 points remain to be discussed. And those are our first 2 points in the common features. What were the common features of new taxation regime? All the sections. Tax rate will reduce and tax benefits forego. That means increase income, reduce rate. Increase income, reduce rate. Correct hai? So finally we reach that stage where we go and discuss what are the rates of tax in the new taxation regime under 115 BAC. What are the slabs given? So now I am going to tell you the slab rates as per new regime. I will give you the slab and I will give you the rate. Slab and rate. One thing we should all understand, that these rates will be lower than the rates in old regime. That's the main feature here. But mitro, for that we should remember the old regime also, no? So old regime mein, do you remember the rates? First 2,50,000 no tax, 2,50,000 to 5 lakh rupees 5%, 5 lakh to 10 lakh 20%, after 10 lakh 30%. Special rates will still apply. Rebate ka 3 conditions, surcharge we discussed, cess we discussed. Those were rates as per old regime. And now what are the rates as per new regime? How many slabs auntie has created? Auntie says in the new regime also first 2,50,000 no tax, 0%, basic exemption limit. No need to pay any tax on first 2,50,000. And after this, auntie made it a smooth ride. Auntie said, I will keep on increasing the slab by 250, 250, 250. And I will keep on increasing the rate by 5%. मतलब क्या सर? मतलब 2.5 to 5 lakh 5%. Keep on increasing 5%. 5 lakh to 7.5 lakh 10%. So do we know there was no 10% rate at all in the old regime? After 5 lakh in the old regime, the rate of tax is 20%. But here we will levy only 10%. So is the assessee saving something here? That's the main feature of new regime. Reduction in your tax rates. 7.5 to 10. 15%. Keep on increasing by 2.5 and keep on increasing by 5%. After 10 lakh, what is the tax rate in the old regime? 30%. But in the new regime, we will start with 20. 12.5 lakh to 15 lakh. Once you have crossed the 10 lakh, it is always 30 in the old regime. But here we will also give you 25% rate. So we are continuously increasing your slab by 2 lakh 50 and your rate by 5%. And finally, after 15 lakh. So what status 10 lakh holds in the old regime, that status 15 lakh holds in the new regime. Your rate will be 30%. These are the slabs announced by Auntie as per the new regime. When we started new regime today morning, the first thing I made you write was tax will be reduced. With these new slabs, is there going to be a real impact on my tax liability? To check that, what we will do is, we will compare that when I earn the same income, then what rate applies in the old regime. At the same income level, what rate applies in the old regime, so that I compare the tax year and year and I come to know if at all I am making any savings. I come to know if at all I am making any savings. If I had to make you only a CA, these are the rates. Chal mitro, point khatam ho gaya. Let's go ahead in our syllabus. But I want to make you a good CA. Today, if I tell you that people who shift from old regime to new regime will save tax of 75,000 rupees. How much tax will be saved? 75,000 rupees. Shifting from old regime to new regime will bring savings of 75,000 rupees. I have to prove it with numbers. तो चेक करेंगे मित्रों. If I am in the old regime, what is my tax rate? Income level of 0 to 250. What is the tax rate? 0%. That means by shifting to new regime, am I actually saving anything? Can I say my savings are 0? Come on. In fact, if the assessee is resident 60 years or resident 80 years, so in the old regime, so 250 nahi, we start only tax after 3 lakh or 5 lakh. But in the new regime, these slabs are applicable to all individual HUF. Matlab mitro, even if you are a senior citizen or super senior citizen, in new regime your rates will be these only. You don't get the benefit of a different basic exemption limit also. In fact, you are losing by shifting to the new regime. But for non-senior citizen, they are not losing anything. Are they indifferent whether old or new? First 250 no tax. Chaliye. 250 to 5 lakh. New regime mein it is 5%. What is the rate in old? New we have written here. Old we are comparing. You will have to tell me that because old I have taught you. What is the rate? 250 to 5 lakh? 5%. Then what is my savings? Nothing. Any person earning income up to rupees 5 lakhs, new or old, doesn't matter. Ulta, listen, new may you shift, savings is to nothing, and tax benefits you will have to forego. Forego tax benefit and don't make any saving. Ulta, it is a loss. Do you understand? Let's go ahead. After 5 lakh, what is the rate in the old regime? 20%. Not just till 7.5, but can I say right up to the bracket of 10 lakh, 5 lakh to 10 lakh, old ka rate is 20? Correct? So I can write 20 for both these brackets. Now if we compare, are we saving something? Yes, you agree with that? How much I am saving? First bracket, 5 lakh to 7.5 lakh. Answer what I am asking, so it will become easy for you. How much is the income in that bracket? 2.5. Or can I say every bracket it is that income only? On that 2.5 lakh, in the old regime, tax applies at 20%. And in the new regime, tax is applying at 10%. So can I say I am saving 10% of 2.5 lakhs? You understood this line? I am saving 10% of 250. That means in rupees, I have saved 25,000. Yes or no? And if you have understood, तो बोलो. Next bracket का income is 250. Old regime still 20 because 5 lakh to 10 lakh. New regime 15. You've saved कितना percentage form में? 5 rupees में 5% of 250. That is 12,500. That's your savings here. That's your savings here. Correct है? चलिए. Next bracket. Do you realize that after 10 lakh in old regime I can simply keep on writing 30, 30, 30 for everything? See, old ka rates is only what? 0, 5, 20 and 30. These multiple slabs are created in the new regime. So after 10 lakh everything is 30. One thing can I conclude here itself, that after income level of 15 lakh also, old or new doesn't make any difference. So understand the next sentence. For your income from 0 to 5 lakhs, there is no difference in old and new. And after 15 lakhs, Modi ji ka favorite figure. Every time we take 15 lakhs in our example, we say Modi ji. Every time we take 40 lakhs in our example, it is Totla Tiwari. You know Totla Tiwari? Nahi? Talit Lat? No, not. Chal chhod jane. It's okay. After 15 lakhs, after Modi ji ka favorite figure, can I say old and new? Does not make any difference. The difference lies only in this much. This is the only savings. 2 slabs ka we have already calculated. 2 ka let's calculate. 10 lakh to 12.5. Old mein 20. Sorry, old mein 30. New mein 20. Savings of 10. That's savings of 25,000. And then 12.5 to 15 lakh. Savings of 5%. 12,500. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, Deviyo, Sajjano and Mitro, this is your savings in the new taxation regime. New taxation regime can save only rupees 75,000. Is that proof clear to you? Now I will speak something complicated. Easy part is done. Ab listen. If I shift from old regime to new regime and I am saving tax, the highest tax that I can save is 75. I cannot save more than that. Because this is the only area in the computation where the rates are different. The highest savings is 75. You agree? But is it also possible that the new taxation regime is increasing my tax liability? because I am foregoing my tax benefit. And that loss can be infinite. That loss can be a figure in crores, because if I go to new regime, I lose all my deductions. I lose chapter 6A ka deduction. How many people in this class think that chapter 6A ka maximum limit is 1,50,000? No, there are some people who say, sir, chapter 6A maximum 150. Saste wale nashe. Chapter 6A is not maximum 150. 80C is maximum 150. 80D ka limit is separate. And by now, if you are in 80U case, to uska you get separate. Chapter 6A ka deduction alone can be 1 crore rupees. You will lose that in the new regime. You agree with that? And I am not even talking about the others. There are total 20 tax benefits that you have to forego. To go to the new regime, you have to forego tax benefits. You have to forego your deductions. They are 20, and chapter 6A is only one of them. And chapter 6A alone has got multiple sections. Your SEZ benefit can be crores of rupees. Your scientific research can be crores of rupees. You have to leave everything. And your income has to increase in new regime. I'll speak one sentence. If you understand this, I will go ahead. If new regime is beneficial for me, the benefit can be maximum 75,000, not more than that. But if new regime is prejudicial, harmful to me, the harm can be unlimited, infinite. If new regime is beneficial, benefit can be maximum 75, but the harm can be infinite. As a chartered accountant, I will never suggest any of my clients to go for new regime. Stay in old. क्या होएगा? 75,000 का savings will go away, no? उससे ज्यादा तो there is no problem, no? Stay in old and you lose this 75,000 का benefit. मेरे से ले लेना. I will give that. Provided your annual fees is more than 75,000. ऐसा नहीं कि इंडिविजुअल का 2,500 का रिटर्न लेके you come and say कि give 75. I will never suggest any of my clients. I have a small CA firm also. Madam is also a chartered accountant as well as company secretary. Madam runs the CA firm. Madam matlab Mrs. Surana. We never suggest any of our clients to go in the new regime. It's a disaster. It's a sham. It's a scam. Assessees of the country को literally dash बनाया. Dash. Everyone is an adult here. Any minor child? Any? नहीं. Amit is to absent today. Harshit, you are not a minor child. नहीं. Can I say that word today? I am not able to control. Can I say that? Can I? Please allow me. Assessee पागल बनाया. पागल. I was going to say pagal only, but I like the way you thought. Savings can be maximum 75,000. Loss can be unlimited. Never suggest anyone to go to the new regime. Is that clear? Everyone? Okay. So these are the slabs. Now we will do one thing. We will also calculate the tax in new regime. Means what we are going to do. Understand the task. These are the slabs. ये slabs hai. And these are the rates. Apply and find out the amount in rupees in all the slabs. I need it for some purpose. I will explain that purpose to you after you calculate. Find out the tax liability of every slab एक एक करके. First slab 0 to 250 0%. Check on your calculator. 0 है. 250 to 5 lakhs 5%. New के हिसाब से we are doing a new के हिसाब से. How much do you get? 12,500. 5 lakh to 7 lakh 50, 10%, 25,000. अरे कॉपी कैट्स, सॉल्व भी करना है. 750 to 10 lakh, 15%, 37,500. अगर जिंदगी में लिटल मैथ्स यू हैव डन, नो लिटल मैथ्स, तो अंडरस्टैंड इट विल कीप ऑन इंक्रीजिंग बाय 12,500. क्यों? स्लैब का अमाउंट इज फिक्स 250 एंड रेट इज इंक्रीजिंग बाय 5%. तो एवरी ब्रैकेट विल हैव 12,500 मोर देन द प्रीवियस. नहीं, तुमको ये सब इट्स ओके सर, वी टुक एसपी इन 12th स्टैंडर्ड, कोई बात नहीं. तो यू सॉल्व एंड फाइंड आउट द अमाउंट. 50,000, 250 का 20%, 60 to 500, दैट्स 250 का 25%. करेक्ट है? आफ्टर 15 lakh, every rupee will be taxed at a rate of 30%. That will depend on the total income of the assessee ना. 20 lakhs है तो 5 lakh का 30, 1 crore है तो 85 lakh का 30, 18 lakhs है तो 3 lakh का 30. That will depend on the total income of the assessee ना. But these are the tax ka amounts till 15 lakhs. Yes or no? Yes. Why did I ask you to do this? Tell me the total tax at income level of 15 lakh as per new regime. 1,87,500. अबे ये तो this was only the total that we have taken, bro. Any great thing we have done? Why I made you do this? Do you remember in the old regime tax after 10 lakh is 30%? So how have we studied calculation of tax here? Net taxable total income minus 10 lakh का 30% plus 1,12,500 for category A, 1,10,000 for category B, and 1 lakh for category C. Array short term memory loss. You remember that? That concept we will apply here also. But here we can't take 10 lakh because fixed tax starts after 15 lakhs. Till 15 lakh it is fluctuating rates, no? So in the new regime, what we are going to do, ladies and gentlemen, from today onwards, in the new regime, what are we going to do? Net taxable total income. It can be 20 lakh, 25 lakh or 1 crore minus Modi ji. NTTI minus Modi ji. Apply what rate? Supposingly 20 lakh is your income, so 5 lakh ka 30, 25 lakh is your income, so 10 lakh ka 30, plus, in old, remember we did 1,12,500, 110, 1 lakh, yahan pe what will we do? Plus 1,87,500. This is how we will calculate. Understood? After today, in old regime, excess over 10 lakh ka 30% plus normal individual 1,12,500, resident 60 years 1,10,000, resident 80 years 1 lakh. Correct hai? In new regime, excess over 15 lakh ka 30% plus 1,87,500. And if it is senior citizen to? Still 187,500. Super senior, still 187,500. Everyone 187,500. So like you have memorized 1,12,500, 1,10,000 and 1 lakh. 3 categories in the old regime. You will memorize 1,87,500 in the new regime. After 15 lakhs, 10 nahi. Old mein the threshold was 10. New mein it is 15. Clear hai? तो 15 lakh पे 187,500. Is that clear? And one more thing I want to do with you here. Supposingly my income is 15 lakhs. So what is the tax as per old regime? Normal individual other than senior citizen. What is the tax as per old regime? How will you calculate, you know? How will you calculate? How? 5 lakh ka 30%. 150 plus 1,12,500. So give me the amount. Tax at 15 lakhs. New regime में तो it is 187,500 fix. Old में how much? 10 lakh तक fix and excess का 30. मिला? Everyone? Now tell me this. Tiding, 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 tiding. ये मैथ्स है, मैथ्स. Understood? Understood the proof of savings of 75,000 in the new taxation regime, but the loss can be unlimited because we have to forego, and that's my last point under the new regime. Mitro, in this tax rates ka chaos, I hope you have not forgotten. We are doing 115 BAC, new regime for individual HUF. We studied the initial points which we had already studied in comparison. Eligible assessee, how to exercise optional and all. Rates clear hai? Everyone? Okay. Before I go to the last point, tax benefits to be foregone, I just would like to give a couple of clarifications. Are these your rates as per new regime? Yes. Will you apply these rates in the new regime? Yes. But if there is any chapter 12 that you have to apply. Because we have already studied chapter 12 is compulsory even in the new regime. So you will not apply slabs on your total income directly. Segregate your income into normal and special. Normal will come in these rates. Special will go in special rates. Correct hai? Normal will come in these rates. Special will go in special rate. Is that clear? Second, this tax that we have calculated, whether it is 187,500, whether it is chapter 12, all this I hope you understand is your basic tax. Correct hai? A basic tax hai. After basic tax, how to go to final tax? Concept number 1. Rebate. Congratulations and celebrations. Same. Same matlab, sir. Resident. Individual. Income up to 5 lakhs. Actual tax or 12,500, whichever is lower. Do we know that? Same. But I'll tell you something. We are wasting our time. See, theoretically writing karne ke liye we are writing. Same. Theoretically, writing karne ke liye we are doing same. But practically we are doing nonsense. The eligibility criteria of rebate is income up to 5 lakhs. Yes or no? Those who have income up to 5 lakhs, for them, it does not make any difference whether they go in old or new. Yes or no? Then it is stupid on their part to go in new. Take deductions and remain in old. समझा क्या? But in case you are already under new, and next year your income is up to 5 lakhs, you don't want to leave the new regime, so you can take rebate if your income is up to 5 lakh. Resident, individual, income up to 5 lakhs. Absolutely same. What was the second concept after rebate? See, all these rates are basic tax. Second concept of surcharge. Congratulations. Same matlab More than 50 lakh, 10%. More than 1 crore, 15%. More than 2 crore, 25%. More than 5 crore, 37%. Surcharge will be same. Is that understood? $25 and $37 will not apply on 5 special incomes. And if your income has crossed 2 crore because of these incomes, then $25 and $37 will not apply at all. The concept of marginal relief, everything same. Everything same. Just note one thing, that your net taxable total income has to be as per the new regime. See, surcharge ka rate will depend on income, no? Income has to be more than 50 lakh, more than 1 crore, mitro. The income that you will check has to be as per new regime. Do we know that income as per new regime will be higher than income as per old regime? Because we are going to deny some deductions and exemptions. Mitro, that you have to check. So it is possible that income as per old regime is 40 lakhs. 40 lakhs. So no surcharge. But income as per new regime is 60 lakhs. So there will be 10% surcharge. Rate is same, but NTTI as per new regime. Is that understood? And this is the best. It does not create any controversy ever. It is always, all assessees, it is 4%. All assessees, it will always come. Every time it will come, and it will come at 4%. Please don't go and tell this to auntie. Anybody here knows auntie personally? Please don't tell her this. That auntie, surcharge mein there are complications. All assessees have different surcharge. Company ka firm ka surcharge ka rates are different. It is not 10, 15, 25, 37. Auntie, HEC is very easy. Everyone 4%. Auntie will be like, Arey, really? Chal, I'll change the rule. Individual HUF 2%, company firm 4%. Chal, I'll change it. Please don't tell this to auntie. Please. As of now, HEC is the easiest of all. Is that clear? Ye tha tax rates, and this brings me to the last point of 115 BAC. With this 115 BAC will get over. BAD will get over fast because BAD is very small, and major discussion we have already, conceptual discussion we have already done. Last point. This will take time. Would you like to guess what is this point? बोला कुछ नहीं ब्रो, तू बोलेगा, that is acceptable to us. Think about it. Scroll right from the features. This is where it started. From these features, what are the things that we have already written in 115 BAC? And what is the only thing remaining? What should be the, as rightly typed by someone, what should be the tax benefits to be foregone? What should be the tax benefits to be foregone? It's a list of 20 benefits given. Mitro, chapter 6 ka 80C, 80D, 80G, 80U are not separate. That's 1 point chapter 6 se out of 20. 20 का list है. There are some from salary, some from house property, some from PGBP. Capital gain is the only chapter from there from which there is nothing to be foregone. There is something from other sources. There is something from clubbing. There is something from set off. There is something from full deductions ka chapter. It's a long list. No matter how hard I try to explain to you the list, you are not going to understand it now. And the reason is very simple. If I tell you that deduction of scientific research section 35 is to be foregone. If I tell you the deduction of 35 AD is to be foregone. If I tell you additional depreciation which is given to manufacturers in PGBP has to be foregone. It is easy for me to tell you the 20 points if I think about it from my level. I know all these 20 points. And you all cleared CA intermediate with a GST. You all don't even know that these points exist in income tax. And these points cannot be taught to you now. Do you realize these are sections of business profession chapter, which is a chapter to be done one fine day? So as and when we progress in our chapters, this list will come to you. Okay? As of now, if you have to just take a quick scroll through the list, I am not teaching you anything. I am not explaining anything. I am just showing you a list, that there is a list of tax benefits to be foregone. All the list points are a particular exemption or deduction. What does an exemption or deduction do to your income? It reduces. You are allowed to do that in your old regime, but in the new regime it will not be allowed. But in the new regime it will not be allowed. Whether you know that exemption or you know that deduction or you don't know it cannot be the criteria right now, because these are not just points 20, they are our chapters in our syllabus. It is not possible to explain. So I am not going to list down the points for you right now. In the physical hard copy textbook that is given to you, the theory book, this full list is written, 20. Okay? And I am going to quickly take you through that list. Those students who are maintaining handwritten notes along with the class can just leave about 30 lines here, so that whenever you want, you can take down to make your handwritten book. Right now, we can't waste time in writing. You just have to copy that list from your theory book. And anybody later taking the handwritten book, it is there in the handwritten book anyways. Okay? So, I am not teaching you, I am just quickly taking you through the list. What is the list? Deductions which will not be allowed in the new taxation regime. Is that clear? What is that list? Let me quickly take you through. If you have the hard copy textbook, you will also come to know. This is that first chapter of our syllabus. Now that you have studied the full chapter, you will get an idea of all assessees are liable to pay tax. Now you can get idea about what is an HUF, or what is an AOP BOI, or what is an artificial juridical person. Now do we have idea about what is the concept of rebate and what is the concept of surcharge? What kind of people it applies to? This is the concept of marginal relief, the same example which we did in class. So in class we are doing all this in writing. The only difference between our class notes and the handwritten book is this. The font is a little better. And two, those memes you will find only in the book for remembering the concepts of your syllabus. That way it's a very, very popular book, but the choice is yours. I will not pressurize you for that. We will focus on 115 BAC. तुमको option दे रहा है dash dash. We are getting an option. Have we studied these rates 115 BAC? Just verify whether we have studied all this or not. Is surcharge cess chapter 12 all going to be applicable? It will apply at the same rates, but NTTI will be as per new regime. And what will not be applicable? Immune from applicability of alternate minimum tax. Have we studied this in 115 BAC? Chaliye. Option to be exercised on or before due date of return filing. Not having business profession on a year-on-year basis. Having business profession, you can take and you can change, but later you can't change. If you stop having PGBP, you can go in this category. Have we studied this? The only thing that we have not studied is the list of tax benefits that are to be foregone, and you are currently not in a position that you can understand all these provisions unless and until you learn these chapters. These are not just sections, they are chapters of your syllabus. So quickly I will take you through what are these. Are they tax benefits? Supposingly I teach you an exemption or I teach you a deduction. Is that a tax benefit? It will be allowed in the old regime and not allowed in the new regime. That is what we are here to learn. Is that clear? Quickly we will go through the list one by one. You don't try to put any pressure on yourself. Right now, as your chapters will get over, this will be taken care of. First, whenever you are an employee and your boss gives you money to go on a picnic with your family, that money is called a leave travel allowance, leave travel concession. Uske liye there is an exemption given. The moment you see section 10, no, section 10, nacho re nacho, 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 nacho. Section 10 means exempt income. That means leave travel allowance ke liye there is an exemption given in 10.5. With that exemption, will you reduce your income? Allowed in old regime, but not allowed in new regime. Is that understood? That's the list that we are doing. Now you know the calculation or you don't know, it's okay. Till the time you know it's a tax benefit which is not allowed in the new regime. That is only what is expected out of you right now. You are not in a position that you can understand all this today. 1013A, whenever you are living in a rented house, boss gives you house rent allowance. That is amount received from your boss. From that we are eligible for an exemption. Sir, what is that exemption? Actual HRA received, or 40% of salary, 50% of salary in Mumbai, Chennai, Delhi, Kolkata, metro cities, 40% of salary in other places. Or third limit, rent paid minus 10% of salary, whichever is lowest is your exemption. Hear me out. That's a calculation given where? 1013A. It's okay if you don't know that right now. Till the time you know this, are you clear about what is expected right now from you? Till the time you know that this is an exemption in income tax, allowed in older regime, but not allowed in new regime. Bus, only that much. 1013A. 1014 is a list of exemptions again in salary chapter. I'll tell you about them. They will at least sound familiar. Children education allowance 100 rupees per month, maximum 2 children. Children hostel allowance 300 rupees per month, maximum 2 children. Tribal area allowance 200 rupees per month. There are certain exemptions given. In old regime allowed, not allowed in new regime. 1014 also not allowed in new regime. That is clear? But with some exceptions. Exceptions matlab, we are taking 4 exceptions in 1014. Are they a part of 1014? Yes, sir. Normally 1014 is not allowed in new regime, but these are going to be allowed in new regime. This is going to be allowed. What do you mean by the word exceptions, bro? Exceptions का मतलब क्या होता है? What is exception? That normally 1014 will not be allowed, but these 4 will be allowed. We'll talk about what those 4 are. But are we clear what is the meaning of exceptions here? So no, I'll tell you something. Be clear in your mind. 1014 fully allowed in older regime. Everything allowed in older regime. Where is it not allowed? New regime. Where is it not allowed? New regime. But in this also these 4 are going to be allowed. Which 4? Shall we go to the, you understood the exceptions? First, transport allowance, which is exemption given to a Divyang employee. Olden days mein, we used to call them handicapped and disabled. Modi ji said, calling anyone handicapped or disabled is disrespect. So Modi ji coined a term called Divyang employee. Any person who is suffering from disability and the boss gives you transport allowance for coming to office from home to office. So there is a tax exemption given in 1014, 3,200 rupees per month exempt. Exempt up to 3,200 rupees per month. What is the exemption given? 3,200. Like you have no education allowance 100 rupees per month, hostel allowance 300 rupees per month. What is the threshold given for Divyang employee? 3,200, 3,200 rupees per month. Is that an exemption of 1014? Yes. Is that allowed in old regime? Yes. Yes, old regime everything is allowed. Is that allowed in old regime? Yes. Is that allowed in new regime? Yes, because it is an exception. Normally we will not give you, but this we will give you. Is that clear? Out of respect towards Divyang employees, we will give you. Is the exception wala part now clear to everyone? Absolutely. 100%. Chaliye. Let's go ahead. Next. Conveyance allowance for performing office duties. This I think you know better than anybody else in the country. You go to client place, audit place, traveling ka expenses are given to you. Correct hai? Correct hai? Your boss gives you only that much money which you have incurred. Okay, your boss gives you extra. Is there any article assistant out here whose boss gives extra? Then tell me now. नहीं? बोला सर कभी कभी उसमें से भी वो अकाउंट्स वाला काट के देता. We have all experienced that, no? When they want you to work, बोला बेटा go there, बेटा एकदम प्यार से they will talk. And when you make your voucher, that accounts ka lady is always shouting at you. At least once in our life, during our articleship days, we have definitely had a fight with that lady in the accounts department or the HR department. है ना? It has happened with everyone, no? Huh. So do you understand? The conveyance allowance which your boss is giving you here is basically to meet an expense that you have already incurred for him. You agree with this? For this there is an exemption given in 1014. And you know what is that exemption? It is not given in rupees, 100 per month, 300 per month or 3200 per month. It is given as the expense that you incurred is exempt. So if your boss gives 10,000 and you spend 10,000, so exempt. But if your boss gives 10,000 and you spend only 9,000, so 1,000 is taxable for you. That means, can I say the exemption that we take here is to the extent of expense that we have incurred for our boss only? That is our exemption. Exemption equal to expenditure allowed in old regime. And new regime maybe we have to give, no. It is an expense, not his profit. You understand what is happening here? And therefore we have kept it under exception. Divyang employee ko we want to give respect. But here though it is an out of pocket expense. Hello. Therefore allowed. And if you understood conveyance, you will understand the other two exceptions also. Allowance to meet cost of travel on tour and transfer. So, outstation audit wale bachcho. Why have you first of all surrendered to someone who does not care for you at all? And why are you making your own life miserable? Whether to do that work or not do that work is your choice. But care. My only question is, on outstation audit, that train ka ticket, that hotel ka expense, that guest house, that food, all that you only have to pay from your own pocket, no? Okay, boss gives. हाँ? अबे ओन पॉकेट से यू विल पे नो 3,000 रुपया का स्टाइपेंड में से तो हो गया फिर बॉस गिव्स यू डू यू अंडरस्टैंड टू मीट योर एक्सपेंसेस ऑन एन आउटस्टेशन असाइनमेंट द अमाउंट दैट यू स्पेंड इज exempt मतलब बॉस गिव्स यू 10,000 you spend 9,000 so 1,000 is taxable and if you spend full 10,000 so nothing is taxable. That exemption is allowed in old regime and has to be given in the new also because it is an out of pocket expense. You understood? Same as conveyance. And same is the third thing also. Daily allowance for absence from normal place of duty. Supposingly your duty is Fort office but your boss says nahi. For 1 month you have to work in the Mulund office. And for that I will give you expenditure of traveling. Bosses have to give you, no? And that amount also you will spend, no? Traveling ke liye. अरे boss will give you only what you have spent. He won't give you anything extra. Correct है क्या नहीं? The amount that you spend is exempt. That exemption is going to be allowed in the old regime as well as the new regime. Normally 1014 का exemptions will not be allowed in the new regime. But these 4 are going to be allowed in new regime. Exceptions का मतलब understood, and logic behind those exceptions. देखो, these 3 are तो my expenses only. मित्रों, these 3 are my expenses only. So this तो you have to give me, no? And this is only an extra benefit out of respect to somebody who is suffering from disability. These 4 will be allowed in new regime, others will not be allowed. So let's be clear. In old regime, everything is allowed. In new regime, we will have to forego. That is what we are doing. Let's go ahead. 1017. Daily allowance and constituency allowance of MP, MLA. You know, member of parliament, member of legislative assembly. When the parliament is in session, they get something called a daily allowance because they are away from home, no? And they also get something called constituency allowance. Constituency is an area from where you win elections. For example, I stay in South Mumbai. There is a gentleman called Mr. Arvind Sawant. He is the Lok Sabha representative of South Mumbai. You can say South Mumbai is the Lok Sabha constituency of Mr. Arvind Sawant. Like North Mumbai is for Mr. Gopal Shetty. That is called election constituency. I come from South Mumbai. Member of parliament matlab wo parliament, Delhi, Lok Sabha. And then there is a state legislature also. Legislative assembly. The candidate who is winning elections since the last 3-4 elections from my area. There is a gentleman called Mr. Mangal Prabhat Lodha. India's richest real estate developer. And also a cabinet minister, minister of tourism now in Maharashtra. Abhe gadeda log, little politics, you know or no, you know who represent you in the government. You know who are the people who represent you in the government. At least you should know about your own area. So listen, South Mumbai is the Lok Sabha constituency of Mr. Arvind Sawant. Varanasi is the Lok Sabha constituency of Modi ji. Gandhinagar is the Lok Sabha constituency of Mota Bhai. Wayanad in Kerala, Nihal Bol, is the Lok Sabha constituency of whom? Hey, unmute karke bol. Because Kerala is the only state, Nihal, where Rahul Gandhi can win an election now. Kerala is the only state. Nihal is from Kerala, for those who don't know this. I go there for physical lectures. And I'll tell you something. That Kerala hates Mr. Modi. So, if there is Mr. Modi contesting election, and if there is a dog contesting election, the dog will win the election there. Kerala is the only state where Mr. Gandhi could have contested elections. By the way, for those who follow little politics, Rahul Gandhi ka family seat was a place called Amethi in Uttar Pradesh. Last 30 to 40 years, Gandhi Nehru family ka person was winning from that place, the election. Rahul Gandhi also won elections from there earlier. 2014, he won against a lady called Smriti Irani. She lost. But 5 years she worked very hard. And in 2019 ka elections, yes, it's a fact, 30-year-old family seat, Smriti Irani defeated Rahul Gandhi in Amethi. Assuming the EVMs were not tampered. And Sonia ji was aware that Rahul is going to lose from Amethi, and therefore she sent him to win, or she sent him to fight elections from Kerala. Wayanad karke, there is a district in Kerala, very famous tourist place also. Rahul Gandhi is Lok Sabha MP from Kerala. Now you can say Wayanad is his Lok Sabha constituency. And listen, I do not belong to any political party. I am never going to say in support of or in against Modi ji or Gandhi. I am very clever. Apan Marwadi admi. Apan interested only in apna dhanda pani. We are not interested in anything else. So whenever I go in Gujarat and teach, I say Modi ji is the best person on this planet. And whenever I go in Kerala and teach, I say Modi ji is the worst person on this planet. Apan Marwadi, apne ko matlab hi nahi. Hashtag Thug Life. Okay. Audience is happy, no? That is more important. Apne ko kya? I am not contesting election. One day I will become finance minister of the country. Very soon. It's a matter of time. Talks are going on, announcement can come at any point of time, and from that day also I will not stop teaching tax. I will continue as a passion. And can you imagine, if finance minister is teaching tax to CA final, will people even learn from anyone else? अरे जो मैं बोला वो law, if I teach any section wrong also, that is the law, I will amend it. शिवगामी देवी, मेरा वचन ही है शासन. What I say is final. My word is final. Understand the catch here? So what do you mean by constituency? Then once I become finance minister, no? Then I will have to speak in support of the party who makes me finance minister. That's what politics is all about. But what is constituency? The place from where you win elections. So you have to give back something to that area. Government will give you funds. Spend it for the money. Spend this money for the people of that area. Many a times you will come across a garden where there is a board. This garden was beautified by the Lok Sabha, by the MP fund of the Lok Sabha MP Mr. So and so. If you go in the lanes of Bandra West, you will find boards. This area has CCTV surveillance. This CCTV was installed with the MLA funds of Mr. Baba Siddiqui, who was once upon a time the MLA there. Now he is not the MLA anymore in Bandra. You will find this. Arey, मैं बोलता हूँ, leave all this. You've seen Panchayat season 2 on Prime? No one? No one? यार ये सब देखा करो यार, ये it gives general knowledge. In the season 2, it's a small village. Abhi I will have to explain the scene. It's a small village. They want to construct a road because the road is very bad. So they approach the MLA, Vidhayak ji. MLA in Hindi is called Vidhayak, but North mein they call him Vidhayak. Vidhayak ji, give funds to make the road. That's the MLA and MP funds that we get. That's constituency allowance. For MP MLA, the daily allowance and constituency allowance is going to be exempt from tax in the old regime, but not exempt in the new regime. Ultimately, I am not today going to teach you daily allowance, constituency. That is not the objective. This will be taught to you in income from other sources ka chapter. What is daily allowance? What is constituency allowance? Today I am only here to teach allowed in old regime, not allowed in new regime. That's it. This is an exemption. Allowed in old regime, not allowed in new regime. Don't forget the objective of doing this list. Arey, shock mein se niklo baar. You all are understanding what I am saying? Next, section 1032. Whenever there is a minor child ka income will be clubbed in the hands of the parent. From that there is an exemption. Actual income or 1,500, whichever is lower. So are we reducing our income? Allowed in old regime, not allowed in new regime. Are you able to understand this now? Next, 10AA. Any assessee doing business in special economic zone is going to get a tax holiday of 15 years. Kitna years? This is a chapter in my textbook. Chapter 7 of volume 1 is a special economic zone, where I will teach you how to calculate that deduction. But right now, what am I teaching you? Is there SEZ deduction in income tax? Yes, sir. Is it allowed in old regime? Yes, sir. But that deduction is not allowed in new regime. समझा क्या मित्रों? Next, section 16, the deductions from salary. We get 3 deductions. There is something called standard deduction, actual salary or 50,000, whichever is lower. There is something called entertainment allowance ka deduction, which is available only to government employees. And there is a deduction called professional tax paid. 3 deductions against which income? Salary. Allowed in old regime, not allowed in new regime. Section 24 mein we get deduction of interest on home loan. 24B का बात हो रहा है. 24A is standard deduction. 24B is interest. So house property mein it will come, no? Deduction will be taught there. Here what am I teaching you? If your property is self-occupied property, this is important to note. We are not denying the deduction for everyone. We are denying deduction only for your self-occupied property. And you know what is the logic for those interested in knowing? In self-occupied property, we don't show any income. We take the income as 0. NAV equal to 0. If NAV is 0, standard deduction 30% of NAV will be 0. You can check on your calculator. 30% of 0 is 0. So no need to mention about standard deduction. But there will be interest ka deduction in SOP. That interest ka deduction will make that final answer negative. And that SOP ka loss is used to reduce your other taxable income. SOP in our country is to only create a loss and reduce your taxable income. SOP in our country is to create a loss and reduce your taxable income. Are you with me? We will not let you do that. Will we allow in the old regime? Yes, but not allowed in the new regime. SOP में interest का deduction will not be allowed. मतलब SOP में we will not be allowing you to create a loss and reduce your other taxable income. Is that clear? But I don't want any confusion here. Can a property be let out or sometimes deemed to be let out? After your SOP is over, the locked houses are also treated as let out property. In that, are you offering taxable income? If you are offering taxable income, then we will allow you the interest deduction even in the new regime. See, old regime mein to everything is allowed. New regime ke andar we will allow you this. Is that clear? Absolutely. So, the restriction is only on SOP, not on LOP. And restriction is also on SOP only in the new regime. Old regime mein everything is allowed. One day it will be taken care of, no? When we do our house property ka chapter. Mitro. Next, there is a deduction called additional depreciation in PGBP. Whenever assessee is in manufacturing business. Which business? Manufacturing. To promote manufacturing in our country, there is a deduction called additional depreciation. Normally everyone will get depreciation ka deduction, but manufacturers will get extra deduction in the old regime and not get it in the new regime. Ultimately, it's a deduction which will be covered in PGBP ka chapter. 32 AD is that one deduction which you can ignore also if you want, because 32 AD was available only till 31st March 20. Is that date gone now? That means, can I say this section is as good as deleted from our law now? So it is not available in old also and new also. Once upon a time, it was there in the law. It was allowed in the old regime and not allowed in the new regime. But this you can ignore now. No problem. Likewise, there are two more deductions. This is for tea, coffee, rubber. This is for site restoration business. These are all deductions in which head of income? PGBP. These deductions will be allowed in the old regime, not allowed in the new regime. Where will all these deductions be taught to you? In PGBP chapter. Here we are only going through the list. I'll be clear. I am not explaining anything. I am not teaching anything. I am just discussing that there are certain tax benefits that you have to forego. I could have actually told you that list is there in the textbook. Ignore it right now. As we go in the chapters, we will learn one by one. SEZ का chapter करेंगे, you will come to know 10AA. PGBP का chapter करेंगे, you will come to know all these deductions. House property का chapter करेंगे, you will come to know. As and when we do the chapters, you will come to know. But I just wanted to take you quickly through the list and still explain a little about the list. That is why I am doing it. Section 35, one of the important sections of PGBP, where we get deduction on scientific research. Section 35 has got 7 categories, like 35.1.1, 35.1.2, 35.1.3, 35.1.2a, 35.2AA, 35.2, 35.2ab. Total how many? 7. Listen carefully. Out of the 7, 35.2ab is only for companies. That means, can I say in 115 BAC it is irrelevant? Why? Because 115 BAC is for individual HUF. So 7 में से 1 gone. How many remaining? 6. In old regime, all 6 are allowed. In new regime, 2 are allowed, 4 are not allowed. 2 are allowed, 4 are not allowed, and 7th one is not applicable only. It's only for companies. But what are these 6? One day in PGBP chapter we will take care of it. Correct? Next, the deduction of 35 AD, we call them specified businesses. One of the most important sections again of PGBP ka chapter. There are 14 businesses given. They have given a list of businesses. Warehousing of agriculture produce, cold chain facility, production of fertilizers, hotel of 2-star and above category, hospital with minimum 100 beds. ऐसा 14 businesses are given, where government is requesting you, please start the business. The country has shortage. Example, hospital. Country has shortage. Please start this business. And what is the benefit that we give you? Listen to the benefit. That benefit is 35 AD. 100% deduction of your capital expenditure will be given to you. What will we give you? 100% deduction of your capital expenditure. Normally, we don't give deduction of capital expenditure. We give भिखारी की तरह मर मर के रो के deduction of depreciation, little every year. Assessees don't get capital expenditure ka deduction, but because we want to encourage this business, we will allow the deduction. किसका मित्रों? Asset purchased for business. Think about it. Asset purchased for business. Cost price of that asset can be subtracted against your taxable income. Do you understand the massive deduction that assessee is taking here? Allowed hai. Where? Old. Not allowed in new. One of the most important sections of PGBP chapter. Then there is a section 35 CCC, agriculture extension. Activities which are related to agriculture, like loading, unloading of agriculture goods, transport of agriculture goods, processing of agriculture goods, manufacture of tractors. Are they all related to agriculture? We also give them, also 100% deduction of their capital and revenue expenditure. In which section? 35 CCC of PGBP chapter. Will we give deduction in old regime? Yes, but we will not give you deduction of new regime, under the new regime. Then there is a section 57 in income from other sources ka chapter. So till now PGBP was going on. Now we have entered IFOS. Whenever you get something called family pension, dekho, when an employee retires, you get pension that is taxable under salary head, correct? But after the employee dies, the spouse gets pension. At least in government employment, the spouse does get pension. That pension is called family pension. The spouse did not have employer-employee relationship, so it will not go in salary, it will be taxable under other sources. And from this pension, there is a deduction. 1/3 of the amount received or 15,000 per annum, whichever is lower. 1/3 or 15,000, whichever is lower. Where will I teach you this deduction? Other sources ka chapter. What am I teaching you right now? There is a deduction which is allowed in the old regime and not allowed in the new regime. Bas. We are interested only in that right now. Samjha? Next, the biggest danger of the new regime. If you observe the Uparwala tax benefits to be foregone, think about it. Scientific research, 35 AD hospital with 100 beds, specified business, 10 AA special economic zone. Think about those benefits and then stand in front of a mirror and talk to yourself. Special economic zone ka deduction. Ever in life, scientific research, 35 AD. Do you understand that people like us, we people, small people, garib people, bhuka nanga people, people like us, you understand things like these are never going to affect us? You understand? If the new taxation regime will affect some people badly, it will be the low income earning category people who are taking life insurance, medical insurance policies where premium is not in their budget but taking for tax savings. Ladies and gentlemen, all the chapter 6A ka deduction will be denied. Exceptions are there. Remember 10-14 mein exceptions were there. That means there are exceptions which will be allowed in new regime. But the exceptions are only 3. Which are the 3 which is allowed in new regime? There is 80 CCD subsection 2. I will teach you in deductions ka chapter. There is 80 JJAA because this Modi ji wanted to promote. Modi ji is saying, if you give naukri to new people, job creation, Anybody giving jobs to new people will get deduction in 80JJAA. And there is something called 80LA on India, on something called International Financial Services Center, IFSC. This will be taught to you somewhere. Right now you understand this, that the 3 sections given here are deductions which will be allowed in the new regime. All other deductions, 80C, 80D, 80G, abhi tak sir, by the end of the list we think sir we should also take 80U. Abhi to nahi, but by the end of the 2.5 months that you have to deal with me, I will make you all 80U cases by that time. बोला सर अभी से ही पक गया पूरा का पूरा. But it's a vast subject. ठीक है, ठीक है. When there are results, on one hand there are people exemption, huge list of students getting exemption, more than anybody else, matlab more than any other coaching class of the country, more than AIR 1, 2, 3, if they are getting exemptions. And then on the other hand there are some who barely manage to get 40, sometimes not even that. So does that mean that I taught a few extra sections to a few selected students? ऐसा कि सुन हर्षित कान खोलना, there is one section which I will tell you only, I will not tell anyone. एक section तू सीख ले, I will not teach this to anyone else. ऐसा कान में बोल के सिखाया? Did I speak that in the ears of a particular? नहीं ना. I taught in a classroom, same thing taught, same thing discussed, same instructions given. Then why does one student score exemption and other doesn't? The difference is following of instructions. A bunch of idiots who thought कि अच्छा ये तो अभी list ही तो करवा रहा है, list तो I will read. They thought that it is not important to be in class anymore. And therefore they decided they have nothing great to do in life. Absolutely vella they are, absolutely free, nothing to do. But they decided कि we have to go. तो गया. And then there are people who are still sitting in the class, despite the fact that only list we are going through. Remember, when the results will come, your results are going to be different from them. And to hell with them now. To hell with them. Your results are going to be different from them. Remember this. Okay? Why did I say this? क्योंकि ऐसा नहीं कि सर कल के चैप्टर में अभी today तो I was sitting but tomorrow I am not going to sit. Understand, if you have to get different results from others, so your effort also has to be different. And I am going to teach the same thing to everyone. Favoritism नहीं करूंगा. I will not teach extra sections, or I will not take favor of anyone on the basis of caste, community, creed, religion or gender. Yes, I will do favoritism. कब पता है? One student is participating with me all throughout. One student is keeping camera on from 6:50 AM, 6:55 AM, and other को 4 बार बोलना पड़ता है. Not answering anything, sitting with a fixed blank expression, neither smiling, no हाँ भी नहीं, ना भी नहीं. अरे I expect you to participate in class. If you are participating, you are interacting, that means my communication is clear to you. That means you are understanding things. It makes me also understand that I can go ahead in the portion. But if you don't give me reactions, I can't do this. There are some students who support me in this. Support क्या है? Yes बोलना है, no बोलना है, हाँ बोलना है, no बोलना है. Only that much support I expect. ऐसा लगता है you are playing statue. Somebody has told you statue, ऐसा करके you are watching the lecture. वो भी जबरदस्ती कैमरा ऑन बोला इसलिए ऐसा स्टैचू करके. Very difficult to handle. Understand the difficulties of an online class. I should understand also know that you are following things or not. Okay? So, favoritism happens only towards those students who are sincere towards class. And that I have the full right to do. एक बात बताऊं? Right now all of you all are in that category because your sincerity is there. Despite the fact that only a list is going on, you all still chose to be with me. Some are thinking, नहीं मैं अभी जा ही रहा था बस तभी तूने बोलना चालू कर दिया lol. अभी I am in a dilemma whether I should go or stay back. 3 point है. Then we have to do BAD. BAD will get over in a few minutes. फटाफट. Okay? And the first chapter will get over. Okay? So 3 point. Are we clear? Chapter 6 say you will lose पूरा except these 3 which you will get in the new regime. Are we clear? And in point 18, bomb explode होने वाला है. They have exploded a bomb here. खेल लिया आपके जिंदगी के साथ. They say any loss or UAD pertaining to the above benefits, if they are brought forward, that also has to be foregone. मैं समझाता है sir, what does this mean? Historically, I have been in the old regime. If I am in old regime, am I eligible for additional depreciation? Scientific research, 35 AD, am I eligible for all that? One day I decide, bus, now I want to go to new. Do I have that option? Subject to the conditions before due date, etc., etc. I go to new. Once I go to new, do I stop getting these tax benefits? So in the current year, I have done scientific research ka expense. In the current year, I have additional depreciation. In the current year, I have 35 AD, but I will not get it. Mitro, last year I was in old regime, so I was eligible for these benefits. But last year I did not have sufficient profits to absorb these deductions. So what do? Whenever we have insufficient profits, we carry forward. So in the current year, these deductions are brought forward from the last year. Mitro, current year ka to lapse. Brought forward also lapse. Brought forward also lapse, mitro, lapse. अरे समझा क्या? Everyone understood? मतलब करंट ईयर में you will not get these deductions. If it is brought forward, still you will not get. Forego everything and with a clean image go to the new regime. Heavy scene, bro. But understood? Understood? हाँ. Harshit, you are asking about long-term capital gains का जो loss, long-term capital loss. That is not given anywhere here. मतलब whether old regime or new regime, there is no prohibition of capital gains. I would like to repeat. Capital gains के head में there is nothing which is prohibited in the new regime. In the above deductions, have we anywhere written that long-term capital loss will not be allowed or short-term capital loss will not be allowed? Nahi. Harshit, you have not understood the point that we are talking about loss or UAD of the above benefits. Means scientific research, additional depreciation, SEZ का deduction, 35 AD, इनसे related brought forward will lapse. Are you allowed normal depreciation? Now let me ask this. Confusion नहीं चाहिए. Are you allowed normal depreciation का deduction in new regime? Additional is not allowed, bro. Normal has to be allowed. Yes. तो उसका brought forward will also be allowed. If additional depreciation is unabsorbed, तो current year का not allowed and brought forward also not allowed. The loss pertaining to the ऊपर का benefits is what we are talking about. Are we clear? So anything which is not covered here will always be allowed. Clearum. Next, can you have house property loss? First of all, some students say, sir, SOP में तो allowed ही नहीं है ना. Do you remember SOP interest is not allowed in the new regime? तो SOP का loss तो cannot come only, but can LOP का loss come? Because इधर आओ एक बार. We are denied only SOP. Are LOP, DLOP का interest का deductions allowed? So in LOP, DLOP, can there be a loss? In the new regime, देखो, old regime में there will be SOP loss also, LOP loss also. Both are allowed. New regime में SOP loss can't come only because it is not allowed. But can there be LOP का loss? That LOP का loss against other heads of income, not allowed. Old regime में house property का loss against other heads of income is allowed in set of chapter. There is a threshold of 2 lakhs, but allowed है. Set of के chapter में we will learn the threshold. Allowed है. But in new regime, house property loss cannot be, will not be allowed to be adjusted against other incomes. Not allowed. समझा? But when we are talking about house property loss, are you clear that it is LOP, DLOP? क्योंकि SOP का तो loss is not allowed only to be created in the new regime. ये clear है? And last, if you have any allowance or perquisite which is exempt under other law, अल्लाह सैलरीड एम्प्लॉयज का तो बैंड है इधर. बैंड मतलब दैट बैंड बजाता है ना, दैट बैंड. यू नो व्हाई? बिकॉज सैलरी के अंदर ऑलरेडी इफ यू ऑब्जर्व लीव ट्रैवल अलावेंस का, एचआरए का, 10-14 का, द डिडक्शंस ऑफ सैलरी ऑलरेडी दैट वाज डिनाइड. प्लस अभी क्या बोलता है? सपोजिंगली यू हैव ग्रेच्युटी एग्जेम्पशन अंडर पेमेंट ऑफ ग्रेच्युटी एक्ट, पोगा. यू हैव रिट्रेंचमेंट कॉम्पेंसेशन का एग्जेम्पशन अंडर इंडस्ट्रियल डिस्प्यूट एक्ट. एनी एग्जेम्पशन विच इज गिवन बिकॉज ऑफ सम अदर लॉ, वो भी नॉट अलाउड. एंड वाई आर यू लीविंग ऑल दिस? टू सेव 75,000. बहुत बड़ा लॉल है, लॉल. They have given you a list of 20 tax benefits to be foregone so that you get new regime and you save kitna? 75,000. Take it from me. Stay in the old regime. Suno, CA suggestion. Stay in the old regime. Take all these benefits. These benefits can be crores of rupees. Your 75,000 will be immaterial. Samjha? And I speak that line again. Going to the new regime can save maximum 75,000, but can make you lose unlimited amount, infinite amount, crores of rupees also. Is that clear? That was the list of 20. That's our section 115 BAC. अरे कोई को भूल गया 115 BAC was going on. ये सब याद है? 15 lakh, 187,500, 75,000 का सेविंग्स. These 20 का डिस्कशन के लिए we went to the PDF where I told you that I am not teaching. Had I been teaching today, then I will write. But in case to maintain your book, if you want to write it in the notebook, so you leave 30 lines. Try to learn the list first from the textbook, then try to write it on your own. Leave 30 because some of them will not fit in one line. Exceptions, etc. are also there, no? Leave 35, but fit it later. 20 tax benefits to be foregone. Bro, understood? And this will take us to the last thing of the chapter 115 BAD. Also a new taxation regime. And I told you that we are learning only BAC BAD in this chapter. BAA BAB तो we will learn in math. तो there were some common points तो we studied that. Correct? BAD will be taught. ऐसा ही points बना के. Eligible assessee, optional, how to exercise. Let's see if by now you remember or you have forgotten. Eligible assessing. जल्दी बोलो, हाँ बेटा जल्दी बोलो. The faster you speak, the better you get to leave. Earlier you get to leave. Cooperative society बोला ना, तो now I will say wrong. Resident cooperative society. Correct है? Second question. Is 115 BAD for cooperative society compulsory के optional? The points are same. जो अपन ने whatever we wrote here, no 115 BAC points are same. Compulsory के optional. Correct? Third point. How to exercise? How to exercise? On or before the 139(1) due date? Due date of return filing? मित्रों, on or before the 139(1) due date? And here it is easy, no? क्योंकि once you exercise, you never change. You will forever stay. Where? In the new regime. Complication was here. Complication was here. PGBP, non-PGBP. Here there is no complication. Correct hai? Next. Do we know that when we write, we are writing in the same order. Which tax is applicable to cooperative society? MAT के AMT. हाँ? MAT के AMT. मैट इज फॉर कंपनीज, तो कोऑपरेटिव सोसाइटी के लिए AMT नॉट एप्लीकेबल. बस लास्ट 2 points are left. Tell me what are the 2 points. What was point E and F in 115 BSc? Point E was tax rates and point F was tax benefits to be foregone. Point E, rates. See, in individual HUF, now I had to tell you the new slabs, then compare, lots of chaos. Here it is very, very easy. Basic tax is going to be flat 22%. No basic exemption, no slabs. Every rupee will be taxed at a flat rate of 22%. Such bolu to cooperative societies having income up to rupees 20,000 should not even think about the new regime, because old regime mein the rate is 10%, 20%. Once you cross 20,000, old regime mein it is 30, but new mein we are giving 22. And so no, flat 22, no slabs. Means 1 lakh ka income 22,000 tax, 10 lakh income 2 lakh 20 tax, flat 22% basic tax. Something similar to what will come for companies and firms in old regime, new regime. They have flat, they don't have slabs. But even then, you should always remember Chapter 12 will apply. So if the cooperative society has any long-term capital gains, casual winnings, special rate will always apply. New regime mein special rates apply. Have we discussed that? So special rates will continue to apply. Basic tax will be flat 22, but subject to special rates. After basic tax, what points do we learn? Point number 1, rebate. I will say or you will say? Why? Because rebate is only for individual. Second, surcharge. You remember in cooperative society old regime mein surcharge underwent an amendment. After 1 crore 7%, after 10 crore 12%. Here, this is a little different and you need to focus. And 2 minutes silence for those bunch of idiots who have decided to leave the class because the list was going on. This concept is important to note. Surcharge for individual HUF comes after a certain income threshold, 50 lakhs. For cooperative society in the old regime, it comes after 1 crore ka threshold. But in the new regime, eyes open, ears open, nose not required. Always. Matlab, if the income is 1 rupee, still there will be surcharge. If it is 10 rupee, 1 crore rupee or 1,000 crore rupee, surcharge will always come, always come. This is a case of fixed surcharge. Understanding ke liye bol raha hu. You can say like HEC. When does HEC come? Always, no? Same. Fixed surcharge hai 10%. मतलब इमेजिन कीजिए कोऑपरेटिव सोसाइटी का इनकम इज 1 लाख, तो 22,000 फ्लैट बेसिक टैक्स एंड 10%. आई होप दैट मच तो यू नो, हाँ, कि सरचार्ज इज ऑलवेज अप्लाइड ऑन बेसिक टैक्स. तो 10% ऑफ दैट 22,000. सर, इनकम इज ओनली 1 लाख, स्टिल सरचार्ज. इनकम वॉज 1 रुपी, स्टिल सरचार्ज. समझा? एंड दिस इज नॉट डिफिकल्ट टू एक्सप्लेन. आई विल नॉट से, you will say. When will it come? Always. And how much? 4%. 4% of what? Basic plus surcharge. Huh? HEC is always added on the total. Correct? So fix 22 basic, fix 10 surcharge, and fix 4 cess. Correct? So how many people are thinking, sir, that means 36% हो गया? 22 plus 10 plus 4. (22 plus 10 plus 4) is not 36. 10 is on 22. and 4 is on that total. तो एक काम करो, have you invested in a calculator, purchase या rented, good quality calculator, 22 on your calculator, उस पे add 10% surcharge on that and add 4% surcharge on the total, the effective tax rate therefore will come to 25.168%. 25.168%. Understood? That's the tax, and always it will be this only, no mitro? Always it will be this. Correct? Mitro, is that clear? And last point. Come on, tell me what is the last point? Tax benefits to be foregone. सर वापस सर पकाएगा सर वो लिस्ट. I'll give you two good news. Good news number 1, here it is only 10, not 20. Good news number 2, these 10 are from that 20. You remember, with those 20 there were some which can exclusively apply only to individual. For example, your salary wala benefits, leave travel concession, HRA, salary ka deductions, your exemption under any other law of allowance or perquisite. Salary ka remove kar do. House property, that family pension can also come to individual. MP MLA can be individual, not a cooperative society. If you remove individual ka 10, so the remaining 10 ho gaya. These 10 are from those 20. So very quickly I will take you through this. This is now cooperative society. Dekho, cooperative society ka first I have given normal tax rates, original wala, old regime. This is the amendment. In all the notes, this is how we write amendments. When you are flipping your pages, the amendment should catch your eye fast. समझा क्या? Amendments, must tell, red blood का color we will use there. Now we talk about the new regime. New taxation regime is applicable for cooperative society. Mitro, basic tax will be flat 22%. Surcharge will be flat 10%, cess flat 4%, special rate will apply and AMT will not apply. Correct hai? And what are the other conditions? Option to be taken on or before the due date, and once taken you cannot change. Correct? Tax benefits to be foregone. 10 hai out of the 20. SEZ ka deduction was there in 20 also. Additional PGBP ka sab hai, additional depreciation, 33AB, ABA, scientific research. Do you remember my discussion? Totally how many are there? 7. Usme se 1 is applicable only to company. So not applicable here. 6 remaining. 2 are allowed, 4 are not allowed. 35 AD, agriculture extension, all this will come. Chapter 6 se ka no deduction will be given to you, and loss or UAD with respect to, Harshit, gaya ke hai? Gaya. Loss with respect to the, sorry. Loss with respect to above benefits. Same. Samjha kya? These 10. And what about tax rates of partnership firm and company? ठीक है, बाद में. Where will we learn partnership? In partnership firms and companies in MAT का chapter. Everyone clear, ladies and gentlemen? Well, ladies and gentlemen, congratulations, badhaiyo, abhinandanam. After all the chaos that auntie has introduced in our life, finally we get done with our first chapter introduction with our tax rates. Thank you very much.